Those members, okay. All right, well, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion, I think, Ms. Bennett.
Mr. Riley, second.
Okay, we have a motion, second, Madam Clerk.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
And for those in the audience, there is a session upstairs on general board session concerning signal hauling.
I haven't been invited. Oh, I know.
People's here, okay. Good.
I'm real good at talking.
There's a method. There's a method to the madness.
Small. Here's the strike.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to imagine.
Yeah, just like I'm employed, they put it there. Post, and there's good enough, so, wife.
Awesome, all right, are we ready to get going, guys? Awesome, so I have probably like about 12 slides here. I've provided you the information that we're gonna discuss tonight. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to review that before this evening. But with that being said, what are we doing? Well, we finally have answers to the questions that we've been asking for the last almost year. So we're gonna kind of go back through that timeline quickly. I won't belabor it. These are the presentations you've pretty much already seen. And then we are gonna go through those responses that we received. But really tonight, I'm looking for general head nod direction moving forward. Obviously, we can't make any formal forward, as the next step would logically be to approve a contract based on the bid responses we got. With that, we've talked about this a lot of times. Every time we've talked about this is up here on the screen. You've seen this slide before, and we continue to update the community on it as well. At the end of our discussion tonight, I do have a proposal for a postcard. Assuming you all do still want to move forward, I have that to share with you all. That can go out as early as tomorrow if you all direct us in that motion. But we've been talking about this ever since the community survey. Actually, we were even talking about it before the community survey, but just to remind everybody where we started, the community wanted us to investigate a single trash recycling and yard waste hauler. A number of almost all of the other Northeast communities in Johnson County are with a single trash hauler. Actually, all of them are with a single trash hauler. So we went down the path of investigating what that looked like for Merriam. You all had to establish purposes and goals. This is part of the state statute, requires you to do so. This was included in the organized collection plan that you all approved late last year. And we've talked about this a lot with the public. We established an individual web page for this topic that has the opportunity for the public to provide comments at all times. Those have been collected and distributed to you all occasionally. It has been in every single highlights magazine since we have started discussing this, so I believe this will be the fourth one that comes out here in the next few weeks. And we put it on social media, all of our social media channels, dozens of times. Not only just to make sure that the community was informed, but also to receive community feedback as well. These are the themes, we talked about these a number of times. When we do hear from the community, this is what we hear. So we wanted to make sure that these were collected when we drafted the RFP and then ultimately sent that RFP out for bids. With that, a work group was established, community work group, representatives from the council, representatives from the community, a representative from Johnson County was also on that committee. To come up with what a good RFP or organized collection plan, you're going to come and use those interchangeably, what that looks like, and essentially what the bid package is going to look like moving forward. All of these bullets here were included in that RFP. When we put the RFP out, we did not know the answers to these questions, and we've said that all along. If we don't have answers until we put this out to bid and we get the bid responses back, then we can answer all of these questions for you. Which is exactly what we did. I'm sorry this is very small. I didn't even think about that. But you hopefully have reviewed this before tonight. But we did get the bids back. We had 4 companies respond with 5 bids. One company submitted 2 bids because they are a consolidated contract with most Johnson County cities through the American Regional Council. They did submit that opportunity to us to tack onto that contract. They actually the 2 lowest bids for the same company, depending if we go with that consolidated contract or if we go just with them separately from that consolidated contract. There were 3 other bids as well, as you can see those here. We tried to do it apples to apples as best as possible. Depending on what company responded, there were different nuances based on which company responded. And so the work group really took a good hard look at those. We went back to the haulers a number of times with multiple sets of essentially follow-up questions that we got answers to, and had a lot of discussion with the work group. Ultimately, the work group is not providing a formal recommendation. However, as you can see based on the prices, there's a heavy leaning in moving forward, but it was not unanimous with the work group. Are there any questions or comments at this point? Yes.
Just for my understanding, my wife does all the trash. Is the 35-gallon being the small one?
It is.
I have some residents that are concerned about losing. It seems like no one but waste management has.
Most of us have 65-gallon bins, so if you have easy disposal, right? Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yeah, 65-gallon bin is your standard when you think about a trash bin. Is it gonna be the 65-gallon bin? If you have have waste management, the 95-gallon bin is what they provide for, recycling, because waste management only does bi-weekly recycling pickup. So that's the larger size bin, and then, as you can see, nobody except for waste management is going to provide a 35-gallon bin size.
It is a bummer to see the no 35-gallon bins, so we've got a 65-gallon bin that I have, but also a couple of people, but I do love that it's gonna cost less than, or that these bids come in at less than half of what.
Yeah, you know, and I will say that was a really big discussion point with the work group. Ultimately, you all are gonna have to make the decision, are we willing to give up a 35-gallon bin? Or essentially have the conversation of bin storage, with ourselves in order to get a price of $19.50 plus admin fee per month, which is significantly cheaper than all we pay.
When you say bin storage, are you talking about bubbles?
Possibly,
There's one of my-
whether that be the opportunity, we write our own codes, right? The municipal code is something that you all can certainly change, there are obviously gonna be repercussions for that. But there probably could be solutions.
Yeah, I know that there's always like the odd person out, but I've been hearing from people who don't have room in their garage and they don't have room in their exterior because of the walls,
Yeah.
35-gallon bin fits really nice between my two garage doors.
Sure.
That's about the only place I have to put that garage.
Sure. And there's gonna be people that are gonna lose because we don't have 35-gallon options, unless you all want to go chase it.
I mean, I don't have a garage, and you just store it behind the, like,
Yeah,
the
but
front of your house, and it's fine.
I was on the working group, and the discussions that we had, this 35-gallon bin was, well, the group admitted was gonna be the biggest pain point. Industry-wide, they're moving away from 35-gallon bins. They are an anomaly, and they're difficult for the trucks, and the industry is moving away from them.
Yeah, so currently, the type of trucks that they, at least this is the explanation that multiple boards gave us, the types of trucks that they move now, they're moving away from, the new industry standard for trucks are going to be a different type of truck that loads the bins differently, and just aren't gonna be able to accommodate a 35-gallon bin.
So probably the 35-gallon bin customers are gonna lose out on their bins in the next couple of years anyway.
That, I would assume, I don't have any
Yeah,
assumptions,
yeah.
but yeah, I would assume so, yes.
Can they say why their industry standard is changing on the trucks? Is it safety, is it efficiency, like?
I would assume, yeah.
I don't know if it's specifically stated.
I mean, there used to be 3 people on trucks, now there's probably.
There's one.
Yeah. But I don't know, I can ask that question.
I don't know that it's super necessary, but I just curious.
Probably also because the family get out.
Yes. Wow, sorry.
Yep.
Question concerning there's a big discussion surrounding the older units and whether we as a city can do those cheaper than what, or should we do it?
Yep, so if you all recall, there were 5 alternates. The first 2, or actually the first 3, we wanted to know, it's services that the city of Merriam already provides, a large item pickup and tree debris pickup and all day tree pickup. We know how much it costs us to provide those services, so we wanted to go out to bid and see how much it would cost a contractor to provide those services. As you can see, most of the companies didn't bid, most of the alternates. There are, as you can see, like in the Mark bid for GFL, there are large items included within the contract, per month. And you can see with constable too, that's a similar case. But, the only one who really provided costs for those, like for an apples to apples comparison, was waste management, really again, was the highest bidder.
Despite them being the highest bidder, how does that compare to what we do? At least for,
I wasn't prepared to answer that question, but I can take the.
I was just curious.
I have numbers from Celia, but I didn't bring this.
No, I
I
was,
was-
80%, I mean,
Yeah, I can certainly get this. Questions, comments right now?
How many, haulers attended that one meeting?
8?
Okay. And we got 4 different companies here?
Yep. And I did not follow up with the ones who didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a traditional.
Sorry, I lost it. Exclude HOA, why would they know that? They don't want us to place in the neighborhood?
There's probably not a price difference enough for them to be able to have,
But,
there's not a quantity.
but we
enough
could,
difference.
like, we're still able to
Yep.
have that option, it's just not necessarily cost savings.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
So you said 8 people showed up to the initial meeting going for a bid. Do you think it's because this just won't generate enough money for the bid size? Like the small guys need it, the big guys we're already out, the mid-sized guys, are just like, it's.
I don't even want to assume, I don't know, honestly, we didn't do follow-ups, but we didn't.
I think Constable is a small town.
Yeah, so Constables Out of Lee Summit is like a family business. They don't really do anything on the Kansas side, so I'd rather try to get to market. I don't know, there's a lot of assumptions I can make, I don't.
So for the things that we didn't get bids on, or they would charge extra for that we already provided specific service, we would continue to provide those, like news and.
Yeah, and that's certainly a decision you all can make, if.
I mean, is that what the plan?
The plan would be, yes, if there's no bid, or if you all choose to go with waste management, it's much more expensive, that's a decision you all will have to make for negotiating a contract.
No one does need to pick up.
Not in addition to their normal, we don't need your waste management.
Question. On the GFL alternate versus the GFL bid, besides large item pickup, what other differences would that have? Is it just being part of the larger contract?
Yeah.
What everybody?
Yes, it's essentially an economy of scale for them. I will say, for the MARC bid, the MARC GFL bid, if you were to go look at the other cities that are on that contract, they are paying a slightly cheaper rate than that. This would essentially be our upstart cost to get on that contract. And hopefully a few years after our upstart costs were covered, that would either drop or remain the same based on information.
Just a question on the leaf pickup, like Roland Park does the leaf vacuum. Who do they, do you know who they, like that's their city too, right? And
Yeah, they have a back truck.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
it's
So,
a-
and they like contract with like, they have Fairway pay them to do other
I would
services,
say
right?
so.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, I'm not sure, but.
They have some weird partnership, not weird, some collaborative partnership.
So that waste management bid, I think is kind of surprising. So I don't know what theirs costs now, but back in December, I was looking it up, and so that is $429 annually. And back in December, it was like $450 for the customer, so it's like almost no,
Savings.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
but like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on this slide? Right, I don't have two more slides. We do have next steps, assuming you all want to move forward with, any of the bids, low bid, any of the bids. We will start negotiating a contract and bring it to, you all for consideration, at the first April meeting. We wouldn't recommend waiving that because it's such a big deal for the community. So you do your first reading of an ordinance change with a contract, on the first meeting of April, and then the second one is when we ultimately approve the ordinance change in the contract, pending those negotiations of the 1-month start date of 2026. And in per state statute, everyone in the community that's gonna be on our contract has up to 18 months to end their current service and essentially become our service. Questions about that? Okay, so the next thing I wanna talk about is how we communicate this to the public. We think that we have a due diligence to, answer the questions that the public has been asking all along, and we said that we don't know the answers to, because now we know the answers. So we've made this postcard, it's actually ready to go out, tomorrow, if you all agree to it. We want the public to be able to have the answers to their questions with enough time, to consider, oh, sorry, stepping your back, sorry. With enough time to consider, before the April, whatever it is, the first meeting. We want them to be able to do the research and make sure that they have answers to their questions, yes.
So we're looking on this side. Community satisfaction survey on the 6 side, support exploring city trash. So I think I think there's a lot of people who would argue that 65% of people didn't say you do it regardless, it was, look and see if it's a good deal.
Okay.
That's, I just want to, I mean, to me, that's what it is.
Shouldn't it also be a single hauler trash service instead of a single trash
Okay.
hauler service? Am I misreading that? Does everybody think?
That's an easy change.
Okay. I just know I'm like, I'm a single trash, are you a double trash?
Yeah, so I can, this is, obviously the front, there is a back. The only thing I wanted to point out to you all in the front is the way that we worded, if we do choose to send this out tomorrow or whenever you all, want us to, it does say that you have selected a preferred provider, because we're gonna start contract negotiations. Is everybody comfortable with that language?
Can we go ahead and send this out? It sounds like we made a decision that said, that we voted on
We
it.
haven't voted.
I'm happy to reword it however you'd like. I feel,
That makes me.
I mean,
I don't like it.
you don't like it
No.
at all.
I don't like that wording, like that
Oh.
doesn't.
The wording or the postcard at all?
We need.
I feel like we need to provide answers to the residents so they can
I agree,
the meeting.
I think just walking the line of saying, of making people feel like we're going to make a decision versus, hey, we know everybody's been waiting, we have answers, we're gonna discuss and vote on it.
Haven't truly made a decision, so that wording is, right, in my opinion.
Sure,
I agree
how
that
would
we
you, suggest that we reword it?
If we changed it from selected a preferred provider to exploring
Narrowed,
a preferred provider?
narrowed it, narrowed,
Narrow to a preferred provider.
yeah, or like,
Tentatively,
Current, preferred?
I mean, I think we need to put.
I think the motivation of as
Tentative
Caitlin
is a good
said,
word.
the motivation is that we had people that showed up at multiple meetings that made the effort to come to the meeting, wanted to share their concerns or have their questions answered, and we said, hey, we share those concerns, we want those answers also, but we don't have them tonight, and many of them sat down and we would assume went home waiting for us to go, we have the answers now.
Oh, yeah, no, we need to send a postcard, I'm not.
So we need to have something, the motivation of sending it this way was to say, here are the facts. And if you want more facts, here's a website that has more facts. We certainly, we can word it, however, it's your postcard. What communication would you like the public to have?
But we haven't selected preferred provider, and we're not even reading the ordinance until the first meeting in April. So
Which
that
is the
doesn't
meeting
make
we're telling them to
sense.
come to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, whatever Whitney said, narrowed down to a preferred provider.
yeah,
But
You're
we're
seeing big, like, it's not even,
the city council has,
doesn't seem transparent at all.
yeah,
It's considering,
that's a.
Oh, yeah, it's
yeah,
considering the
it's
preferred.
considering the.
Always considering providers.
Considering a provider.
Yeah, it's considering a provider. And then the back is great.
Yeah, so,
I think we just need to have to hedge our bets a little bit, and maybe it will be a different provider.
Well, or like, again,
We
we
have
have
to
to
negotiate the contract.
Yeah. I mean, it might not even happen, right, at this point, still, so.
So Caitlin, would you be comfortable getting rid of now, and we now have answers about single dollar trash service?
yes.
But what trash company is the city considering? And we have the answer.
So I guess, are you considering it?
We don't.
Yeah.
I think we're considering it.
I mean, we're considering it, we just haven't, like, it would be inaccurate to say, we have selected them, we
No,
have
we
the
can't.
contract.
That's-
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and it
Sure.
feels weird considering all the messaging up till now is, we don't know because we don't have any of the answers.
We don't have a contract, we haven't done any reading.
This is
Yeah,
the
like,
provider we're considering.
the
Yeah.
contract might come back, we
Let
might
us
do
know
the
what you
reading,
think.
something, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so on
like
the back,
that.
it certainly says that, but we can add, let us know what you think to the front as well.
Yeah, I don't wanna put messaging out there that's inaccurate, it's easy.
Yeah, and I mean the same thing for the first, like, bullet point, or not bullet point, but number point on the back. Is that really the preferred provider, just because it's a little big, but like, we haven't really discussed that.
That's what tonight's for. hoping that out of tonight, I would have the answers to be able to tell the candidate, because that's these are the top 5 questions that at least I've had to answer. If there are different questions, we can
Can
certainly
you
ask.
say that in a work session?
You can tell me to move forward.
We can't.
We can.
It's
That
not a
doesn't.
policy decision,
Right.
you're just
I
just
understand. I'll-
communicating.
I don't like it. I mean, I'll be honest, but I guess I'm the only one, so. That's fine.
What is it that you don't like?
I like that we're having a conversation in a work session that like, no one really knows. I mean, I know it was noticed, but like it didn't say in the notice that we were gonna be like discussing who we were going to start contacting.
Well, I think we could
Many
consider
times
it.
we've had that conversation when I've given a solid waste update at council meetings for the last 3 months.
I mean, like, I don't think you're answering what she said.
That's fine.
You feel like.
That's okay.
No, it feels
Maybe I
like-
misunderstood, I'm sorry.
I understand, I don't wanna speak for you.
No, it's fine.
So stop me if.
No one understands me tonight, it's fine.
No, I don't wanna speak for you, so I think I understand, but it feels like we're making a business decision without being informed.
Okay.
Is that fair?
what-
Is that, yeah, I mean, we're in a work session that like,
I think.
all the agendas that with
That's
no,
fair.
no
What
slides.
would make you feel more comfortable, I guess?
Current low bidders by GFL and.
Or just at all in the process, you seem uncomfortable, and I don't want
But
that.
we haven't noticed like who even responded to the bid publicly. Like,
Sure.
I mean, we haven't talked about that in a council session, like, publicly, who even like gave us bids, right? I mean, it's been in the work session with residents, but like 2 residents came to the meetings, right? Like, I mean, it wasn't, people weren't consistently showing up.
We tried.
Yeah.
There were more residents who were not at those meetings than
I
some of us.
understand,
Who said they wanted to be involved.
I'm looking at the optics of it.
Okay,
I'm
Jan,
just
but
saying,
we also tried and did our best with downtown Merriam.
I wanna make sure we're as transparent as possible because this is a very big decision that we've been talking about for a long time. And we could get into this meeting in April and it like completely blow up in our faces if we're not transparent about it. And no one else seems to care about that, so that's fine if I'm the only one.
Hey,
but-
that's superlative. That's superlative, walk it back.
Can I ask a question in terms, so this work session, the agenda came out with the city council agenda.
And it had one page that said there was a work session, it didn't have slides.
But that would be the topic. I mean, if there was a discussion at the council level, it's possible that it would just say, discussion of solid waste, and it would go out the same way. So your belief is that, or your concern is that this should be at a council meeting? That this is, that this conversation, not the decision, but the conversation, right? Because I think those are, at least in my mind, that's the 2 different things between work session and council meeting.
The way this is worded, it feels like we've already made a decision and that there is no other feedback that it could be solicited, even if it says send us your feedback.
We could add in, no decision
Yeah.
been made at this time.
Could we change number 1 to just say we've received bids from and then list the 4?
Yeah, like that's, I don't think I'm not being very clear, but that's.
But then that impact, just so you're aware, it impacts them all the costs and all the rest of it, because many of those other questions are tied to the actual bid.
I think that Stacy's concern is it looks like we've already picked GFL.
What if, okay, so here's.
Well, do
Bruce
you
raises
want
hand.
to pick waste management? Like, are there ones that you know you're not gonna?
I personally don't wanna take waste management. I think it would be prudent to pick the lower bid for our residents, but
Lowest and best.
I don't, but this says if we have decided. And
That's what we're trying to decide.
Yeah,
I think
we're
that's
working on the
important.
wording.
We're working on it so we can clear it.
Yeah.
But Chris is saying if we change that first one, all that the military null and void.
Only if
So are we-
you
is
list
this-
all of the bids, we don't have
Right.
to list.
So is this copywriting, like through copywriting?
But I think it all gets back to where in the first page it says that we have selected a preferred vendor. And I don't think that is correct.
Right,
We talked
We are
about what we're doing.
considering.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I
That's
thought
that's an easy
I
change.
thought we reworded that.
I just reworded it.
So when we reword that, we
And
get
it
to the
changes
backside.
everything on the back then.
This is the
Yeah.
vendor we are considering.
Yeah, this is, this is the low bidder for
Right,
sure.
this is the vendor we're considering, and then we have not made a decision yet. Because the decision needs to be made as.
Yeah.
I agree with you,
Yeah.
but that doesn't seem to be the consensus.
Right.
And we want to try to find a consensus.
So considering it's changed.
Yes,
and
yep.
all over the place.
Yeah.
That would make me feel way more.
Is our April 14th meeting a true public meeting where people can make comments? Yeah. So would it also make people, it would make me feel comfortable knowing how these postcards work? We still have this whole top portion of the mail side that we can put information, can we put it
No,
on?
I'm sorry.
That's the address.
Yeah, that's it.
You only, I do postcards all the time, you only need space to speak for that.
You have to have the postmarks.
What's that?
The
I
postmark.
will check on that, I've always been
Yeah.
told you need it.
You only need a, like, 2.5 by 4 inch.
I would be happy to
Okay,
check.
so on the top portion or even a flag in the corner, and we put public meeting,
Like moving.
come share your opinion.
Is it
Because it's very
the yellow?
serious.
Yeah, but the yellow makes it sound like the city council, us, this body, is gonna be just voting, it's like, but it
On the
doesn't.
14th.
But it's not.
This is gonna be a first reading.
Oh, okay.
It
Yeah.
seems like we're making a decision and no one has any say
Right.
anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Then that makes me feel a lot better.
And be prepared because there'll be a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Well, there should be
That's
a-
what we're doing this for. I mean, yeah, like.
And I anticipate we may have this, most of this information should be the council pack.
Right.
So people
So
go
there's
through
more-
it and say, oh, they're a little bit, why are they?
Like, but none of it has been in any packet yet,
Yeah.
that's my problem, and so yes, that's right.
What if,
Well, I changed it to what trash company is being considered.
Okay.
Are we okay with that for the first question?
It softens it in my head.
Softens it.
Yeah.
and we received 5 bids from the.
I know we're trying to keep it concise because you lose people quickly,
Yeah,
and so I'm not trying to complicate it, and I'm sorry, but
we have
I just wanna make sure
You're not alone.
we're transparent.
Stacey, you're not alone.
You're
I
not
had a
alone.
really long day, so I'm sorry.
Well, don't apologize for it.
Okay. What else about the postcard?
The changes.
On the front, it will say, we have answers about a single Ultra trash service. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A 2024 community satisfaction survey found that 65% support exploring a citywide trash recycling and yard waste contract. Since July, the city council has explored this issue to cut resident costs and ensure reliable service and reduce truck traffic on city streets. After receiving feedback from community residents through our online forum and social media, along with the bid process, the city council is considering a need to provide answers for the community's questions.
Is that good? Is
Yes.
that fine?
Yeah, I agree. For the front page?
I really like that exploring, because it makes it clear that, like, we're still in the process. So we
Yeah.
can still bail if we have to.
Because you say at every meeting, we can stop
Yeah.
anytime we want.
Still can.
Still can.
Yeah.
Still can, yep. Top 5 questions and answers. Number 1, what trash company is being considered? After receiving 5 bids, GFL Environmental Inc. is, period. All
Is
words,
low bidder.
is low bidder. Is the same company used by many of our neighboring cities. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. No changes until the bottom yellow part. I'm gonna somehow say like, join us at the next city council meeting to the, where the city council, I won't say city council twice. We'll discuss this issue at the April 14th meeting starting 7 January.
Are we compelled to vote, we have some sort of statutory requirement to vote?
That's the first reading.
I just worked out several of the cans to put, like, can makes it feel like, doesn't have to be the city.
You trash.
It's 35 gallon or 65 gallon.
Okay?
Still that or not?
Yay? Okay?
And
Of course, no, it's fine.
with this logo here in the bottom, that's what will cause the post office to put barcodes. Which will cover up all of it, but they also take away from your addresses. So, I think we should have something that They'll figure it out. I just
Yeah.
want, just, if you ever get a postcard or whatever in the mail, and it has barcode sticker on it, it's because someone put something where,
The printing one.
Right there.
Okay, I will check on that.
Where they want to break it.
We good
for their
with this?
I think we did it.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good, I'm just
yeah.
one other thing around this too, send us your feedback at Merriam.org/resource, or maybe attend if that's the person.
But that's, it's in the yellow.
I mean,
because-
well,
You
yeah,
don't
one
have to
must
yell,
be-
yeah.
except for when we talk about it, it doesn't invite them to come and talk about it.
Oh, I thought she said you, I thought, sorry.
Yes, that's what happened. But they need to send us some feedback, or come and tell us something. Pretty.
Okay?
I think I win.
All right, and we'll make sure that the FAQ on the website is updated by the time that this will hit mailboxes. Like I said, we'll try and get this out tomorrow. I don't know what.
What are, so this is, when we kind of put this together, we said this is our top 5 questions. What are other questions that you think would be questions 6 through 10, just so we can make sure that we address those? And as we get them, we will continue to build the list, but I mean, are there questions that aren't on here that you're being asked
I'll make sure
about?
that if we're gonna put $23 a month, I'm gonna make sure we're.
Chris and I had that conversation about 10 times.
We've had 5 people check.
Yeah, we've had
I
lots of
mean,
people
just-
check.
Well, if you go with GFL, that's what.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure, because the last thing we wanna do is like, come in,
I freaked out about it.
Higher.
Yes.
could be as low as $23.
Concern on this, we're getting this bid, and I guess they know it, that it won't be enacted for 18 months.
That will start January 1.
January 1st.
January 1, the service will start.
Service will start
On 26.
26.
That's 2026.
Right, so however many months, over a year away. You're close to a year away.
It's not.
It's like-
Next June.
January 1.
It's 8 months away.
2026.
Yeah.
So
They
we'll-
have 18 months.
Unfortunately,
They have
time
18 months.
Yeah, sorry for taking time. Yeah.
It said they have 18 months to discontinue their
Their current
service,
service.
because if they have contracts.
It won't take 18
Yeah.
months. All of the providers know that this is happening.
It's
They're
just
gonna
a-
terminate service immediately.
Will-
Marriott customers as soon as physically possible.
Will the contract have penalties in there if they don't pick up?
It is, it's in there. Yep.
Cool, I can't wait to.
So, GFL, I love it, and obviously, the pricing is wonderful, I'm not saying that's obvious. Obviously, they have references, what other cities locally use GFL currently in Northeast Johnson?
Yep, so the GFL is the one that has the MARC contract, which is Roland Park, Westwood, and Fairway.
So,
They also have.
Mission.
a bus.
Mission.
Those are missions.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's those three, Roland Park, Westwood, and Fairway. All use GFL.
so we'd be the large.
We would for GFL. We
So
certainly
we'd
would.
be doubling their service.
Yep, which is why our price is a little bit higher than theirs. They're gonna have to, they've already told us they have to buy new equipment.
And add staff.
Yeah, essentially.
I knew that was a little bit, I just was trying to.
As far as next questions, I'm not sure if this is the right place to note that, but we have to somehow communicate that we are going to, how to accommodate the larger trash cans and the hiding the street.
Yeah, so something along the lines of the city, we know that this is
Yeah,
gonna be
we
an
know
issue.
about it.
Yeah,
We're
that's gonna be
talking about
great
it.
in every
Yeah.
question.
And I don't know if we
Yeah.
can put that out,
Yep, I sure do.
because that is a huge concern.
I also,
It's a vocal concern.
It's a vocal, yeah.
I-
People are loud.
I've also heard from a fair amount of elderly residents that struggle with the larger beds to put them at the curb. So is that a conversation? I mean, I know it is, but like, I think that's something that we need to be prepared to communicate quickly as well.
Yep, as part of the RFP, actually, we required all of the respondents to essentially verify that they do what they call garage side service. And so, and the city's gonna manage that process.
And for disabled residents as well too, right?
Yep.
Because I've heard from both, I just wanted to make sure I
You have to
said it.
apply to the city. We don't know what the process looks like yet.
Right.
Prairie Village does it, so we'll probably
Okay.
copy their process. And all of the providers said that they.
But there's somewhere that we can point people to and a process that we do, that's all I worry about.
We don't have the process, but
We will.
We will.
But like, if we
We're
have,
aware.
we already have an answer, halfway forms to
ready to have answers about city hall trash service.
What else?
But not all, I mean.
I think these are the top five that I've heard, so like.
I mean, people say, what about fixing the rooms there?
Yep, that was included in the bid, package as well. They, are not allowed to exceed CPI, particularly, I realize this, there's CPI for specifically trash pickup. That's set on an annual basis, and so, that's the increase that we're gonna be following. Yep, and that's written.
I'm sorry, I just, that's, I know it's in here, and I just don't remember what's the contract length that we would?
5 years.
I would just like to thank you for putting all this together, and I know you're paying, because I deal with that every day, and everyone's an art director. So thank you for listening, yeah.
It's your postcard.
Until the costume is.
Are we good with the postcard going on tomorrow,
Yeah.
once it gets?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to get out fast.
Yeah, certainly. We want people time to consider and do their research before that 14th.
As long as they realize it's not a done deal.
When you say, get out tomorrow, are you saying, you're not saying, no, you're saying.
Go to the
printer. Because I wanted to know what
Yeah.
printer you have.
Yeah.
The presses are held right now, they're waiting.
They're waiting for this, they're
They
well
were
ready.
kind of little goblin presses.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Well,
both
that's not
Pennsylvania.
just the 14th.
Yeah, both Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'd be happy to write that in here
You want to
too.
do the 14th and the 28th? Because we're gonna discuss it.
His first reading would be the 14th, and then we would vote on the 28th, correct?
Yep.
So yeah, I think
On
that's.
the 14th, are we selecting, or is that actually?
The 28th is the contract.
Right.
The ordinance change is essentially saying we're going to smaller. So we have to do that twice, so you read it on the 14th, and on the 28th is when it's adopted.
So there are
And then we go.
Yep. What else?
Thank you for organizing this and for dealing with us on this spicy Monday.
Yes. You all are welcome. All right, so if I heard you, I'm going to call EFL tomorrow and start down that process.
Can you go back to the table again, just like?
That's less than half of what I pay now.
Yeah, no, it's.
And I just told them to go treat the lower rate.
Yeah.
In the mark for the, it's year-round garbage,
There is.
12 months.
Yep.
How many bags of your waste?
There is a bag maximum, I don't know that right now.
Yeah, I know, but that's just a question I will ask.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
Extra tags available.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Where would we select your tag, City Hall?
And the community center, and, it's retail, all of our grocery stores and hardware stores. Oh, but you can buy them anywhere, like you can go to Price Chopper and Shopping about them, I know. I'm sorry, what did we say, extra tags and areas?
Did you buy them at Home Depot?
Didn't answer the last question.
Yes, right, yeah, that's the, we're not gonna leave here until you tell me yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
I mean, financially, it makes the most sense. And as long as their references check out, it makes sense.
Yep.
It's a cooperative contract.
Mark-
Right, it's a cooperative contract, and I always fall back on cooperative contracts. They've been heavily negotiated,
I
like.
can get one.
Yeah.
And then if you guys have that Edelweiss,
My sister's been using them for a long time.
I'm still shocked that like, some people didn't respond.
I'd be happy to call them and ask them why.
I don't know if it matters, it doesn't matter at this point, we gave them opportunity, right, it's, you know, so it's just interesting to me.
It's obviously possible that
And this
they
grant might
already
make sense.
provide
If
more
they
like
fit
just about
every
everything.
meeting,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
easy to see.
And they are, they service like.
Like my whole neighborhood has them.
Yeah.
Same our whole.
Yeah.
Our whole.
All right, guys, go inside.
But I mean, I see this.
Not to my knowledge. And I will say, and you know, the land wasn't showing, obviously that's right from, the individual that we would be dealing with at GFL it's a good company.
What did they used to be called?
Another abbreviation of letters.
Okay.
They used to be-
GBA was, that's the design.
They started as Town and Country.
Yes.
And
And
there was
then
another
they had
acronym.
another name,
Yeah.
then they was like
And
management
they're
ways.
I will also point out that they're, we're in the Johnson County Chamber members, and they're very active in the chamber, so,
You're talking about GFO?
yeah.
I do need to mention that they probably bought that Town and Country because it's actually large.
It's a
They're very large,
There's
yeah.
24 different states.
No, I know, yeah. I just felt like who locally were they, did they buy?
Town and Country was a small country based on health.
Alright, are we all good?
Yes.
No more questions or comments?
Oh, sure.
I mean, you guys can open it up.
Go ahead, that's what we're here for.
Oh, just about that.
I don't know, you don't need to mention this in postcard, but I think one of the things in the negotiations was that the refuse and trash and recycling will be there.
Yes, that was in the bid as well. Yep, and, that's on.
Good question, isn't it?
Yes, so,
To be clear, they won't pick up the entire city of Austin.
Yes.
But all of your bins, all of your bins will be picked up on the same day.
yeah, when would my
But
trash
your
get
bins
picked
on
up?
that, 26 is-
Yeah, it's never before. Your trash recycling, your waste would get picked up usually all on the same day. Yeah, that's. Correct, your individual house. Get everything picked up. Other questions or comments? Going once, going twice. I know, alright, thank you guys.
I'm glad they did.
I mean, I'm still on the view. I'm not completely, so like, you know, outside, so I contacted general contractors, what it's called. And yeah, so it's providing a new skill set, and I appreciate it, and it's a lot more, like making our methods, and they were like, in our, like, you know, working, yeah, not like the opposite, but like, it's working from home, and yeah, it's also, when I, it's a little better situation, so, yeah. So, yeah, but no, I am still watching the, one of my friends from the UI is working on the project, so. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, did you know that they're doing a building for the Eisenhower, library in Abilene? Yeah. Yeah, they're doing some sort of situation, I kind of like information on that.
Sorry, Billy, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just pushing buttons until I find out how they turn on.
I really know.
We got it.
Maybe at the, I guess.
On the car.
It'd have to be on the car, because I don't think we could do the.
First one in, last one out.
That's right.
Because I just negotiated even like PC disposal and it's just a whole.
Saga continues.
Yes, it does. All right, the time is currently Monday, March 24th, 2025, 21:23 Central Time. This concludes the City Council meeting and work session at Merriam City Hall.